let's go ahead and bring him in. Spencer Riley joins us now, former Vol, a VFL, and played center for the 1998 National Championship team. And Spencer, I'm sure you've been around first of all, thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome, guys. Appreciate it. Glad I could.
Hey, so I'm sure you've been around an offensive line that's been decimated by injuries. And it started with Cooper Mays, and we saw the injuries mount up over the weekend. What's that like? How do you keep the right mindset in that regard?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you gotta figure out if you can play or not play. If you're still just beat up and banged up, all right, get your butt out there and play. I don't know. I mean, who knows? I can't sit here and tell you if a kid's injured or not, right? You can't, neither can anybody that's sitting inside that stadium. It doesn't matter. I mean, but at the end of the day, only the kid can tell you, you know what I mean? And the mindset of kids today, I'll just be honest with you, is not very tough. You know what I mean? We talk about toughness as a choice every day here in our program, and you got to learn to be physically tough and mentally tough. And those two things go hand in hand. You know what I mean? I just don't know at the end of the day how tough Tennessee really is when it comes down to the physical and the mental toughness of playing Power 5. You know, might as well be the JV league of the NFL every day. You know what I mean? So let's be honest with you.
Well, let me get to that because in my role as a media guy, I haven't questioned toughness or effort, and that's something I've really stayed away from unless it's been blatantly obvious. But I like to go to you guys that have played and have put it on the line. What do you think of this team's toughness and want to at this stage of the season? What did you see that might make you worry on Saturday?
Well, I mean, I just see too many of the nicks and knacks, people laying on the field. Man, come on now. I mean, I was the type of guy. If it wasn't broke, I'm getting up and getting off the field. That's something I was taught from a young age. Look, if you can't walk, you physically just can't get up and get off the field, you better get up and get off the field. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I just don't think that there's just a lot of little things that you can see, you know, from my perspective as a former player in the offensive line I don't think they're very tough. Just in general, I mean, the linebackers, the D line, the outside backers, the offensive line, just in general, the whole group as a group, the mindset is not very tough. You know what I mean? If you have a team that have a tough mindset, you got a chance to be pretty good. You know what I mean? In 1998, we were a tough football team.
Yeah.
We had a lot of good players, you know what I mean, and had some really talented football players that went on and played professional football. But as a group, as a whole group, we had more tough-nosed players than we did anything else. And that's why we were good.
What's up, Caleb?
Spencer, do you think part of the toughness issue on the offensive line that you're citing, do you think some of that comes with systems sometimes college offenses run now where offensive linemen are taught to kind of direct defensive linemen to go a certain way on a block rather than maintain a block? Do you think that's part of it?
Well, you're going to ask an O-line guy who runs the same type of runs that the University of Tennessee runs, right? I mean, I don't believe that is correct, Caleb. I mean, you got to be able to move people from point A to point B against their will. And we're not position blocking. We're physically trying to dominate the guy across from you. You know what I mean? And that's a mindset that you have to teach and preach every day from the day that they get on campus till the day that they leave. As something that you have to be able to do is to physically dominate and impose your will upon somebody at any time. It doesn't matter when it is. It may be the first play of the ball game. Hey, man, they look really good in the first play of the ball game. Everybody's like, woohoo, yeah, man, but Georgia's they're talented, man. If you compare their size on their lines compared to ours, we were undersized in that ball game. Hands down.
Still.
So is that part of it? Sorry, David, you want to.
I think that's part of it. I mean, I don't think I honestly sit right here and tell you right now, we don't have enough players to compete with Georgia. And everybody's going to say, well, it's recruiting. Well, guys, you go back and look at it, and my numbers may be off just a little bit here, okay? Since 2019, and on this team right now, there's 5 4-star players playing on this team on a consistent basis right now. You may go back and check that out, but hey, you know what I mean? I think that's pretty close. But you know what I mean? That was given to me by a buddy of mine who went back and looked at it, because I mean, you compare the two, you're not comparing apples and apples.
And I'm guessing, and Spencer, I'm guessing Georgia's probably along the lines of 12 to 14.
5 stars.
5 stars.
Yeah, we ain't got but one on the roster. Am I right?
Do they even have one?
We have one. We have one. The quarterback, Nico. That's it, right?
Yeah, and he's not even playing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and should he play? No, I don't think he should play. I was listening to some talk shows this weekend. I don't believe he should play. I mean, let's just be honest with you. If you just go ahead and throw in it, you lose all credibility as a staff and lose everything that you build if you just say, hey, we're going to throw Nico out there and let him play the last 2 ball games. You lose all credibility as a staff inside your program that you have built and tried to and try to do that. You know what I mean? People don't want to hear that. I'm just sitting here and tell you, you play him, you lose, and you start him, you lose all credibility in the staff, and the kids will they'll leave.
Wow. Hit that like and subscribe button. Do it right now. Okay. I want to ask you why you lose the credibility with the staff, because this is the cool stuff that goes into team building and team forming and team development that a lot of us on the outside don't know. It's brought to you by Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn. Enjoy life better when you see better. Look at me. No contacts, no glasses. Local vision service for LASIK, cataract surgery, and regular eye examination. ccteyes.com. ccteyes.com. Why do you lose that credibility?
Well, I think one of the reasons you lose your credibility is because you've preached the whole time Joe Milton's your guy. You know what I mean? Now you're going to sit here and you're just going to start. You've been speaking lies the whole time. That's the perception now. That's the perception these kids will take. I mean, at the end of the day, I think Josh Heupel is a hell of a football coach. I think his staff does a great job, but you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you got to maintain where he drew the line in the sand and said, Milton's our guy. He's got to stand on it. Yeah, sometimes we as coaches eat it, but you know what? This ain't the time nor the place to do that.
Yeah, and Caleb, I told you that was said to Tennessee's football team in early August that Joe Milton was going to be the guy. Go ahead.
And Spencer, doesn't it help as far as the play of the rest of the team? Doesn't it help when they know from the start of in January who their quarterback is? Even if the quarterback doesn't play well, don't they step up their level of play? Like, didn't it help you guys that y'all knew T. Martin was the guy right after the 1997 season?
Well, I mean, yeah, T. Martin was our guy. You know what I mean? Let's be honest with you. He was the best of the ones that were there at that time. And we all knew that, right? And we knew we had a very talented backfield there and a very talented group up front. So it really wasn't. We knew we had to do our part, right? And we knew he was going to come along and make those things and make those advancements as we went into the season. And you know what I mean? Has Joe done that? No, not really. You know what I mean? I'll sit here and tell you. I mean, everybody has to say that, hey, you know, at the end of the day, he's a good player. It's about all he is. I mean, he may be a great professional player. I mean, guys, I don't see that. This is just me looking at it from outside looking in, but I think he is a great person. And there's a lot to be said about being a great person. I mean, this game can have all the 5 stars you want, but if you ain't a good person and a 5-star, nobody wants to play with you. Let's just call it how it is. You know what I mean? And you know, you work with people daily that you.
Oh, I mean, we lost Spencer there. See if we can get Spencer back. We'll get Spencer back. So to clarify something on the message board, people are asking about 5-star prospects that are on Tennessee's current roster. Well, if you listen closely, Spencer said 5-star prospects that are committing. So let's bring Spencer back. All right, go ahead, buddy.
I'm sorry. You know, I mean, it's one of those things is you got, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, Joe Milton is going to be a great person at the end of the day. Nobody better. He's going to represent the University of Tennessee from now until he dies as a great ambassador of our program, right? But if you have bad teammates, we talk about this. You work and you play with people that you don't necessarily like all the time, right? But if you got to learn how to deal with those guys, right? And you can be a. Go ahead,
Spencer. I call that the Caleb factor.
Well, Caleb, I like talking to Caleb a lot. You know what I mean? Caleb's beard, we got to get a little trim action going on with the beard there, big dog. But
it's November. It's No Shave November, guys.
Yeah,
Come on.
you still got to trim it up, bro. It's a little shaggy on you. So
everybody knows that I love Caleb. Go ahead.
So, but let's pick on Caleb a minute right there, right? But you know, I mean, you can have all the 5 stars you want on the football team, but if you're not good teammates, it don't matter. You know what I mean? People won't want to play with them, and they'll weed themselves out at the end of the day. And that's kind of what has happened. You know, I mean, with the changeovers of staff, after we fired Philip Fulmer for going average and winning 10 ball games a year to the next 15 years, it just was atrocious and abysmal to watch as a player, former player, people who didn't care about the institution was running it. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you didn't want your former players back there who could help you and build programs. Now, Josh Heupel has invested in us as former players and has invited us back and has had us back. And my man says, hey, at least Caleb can grow a beard. You're right, man. I can't grow one. I can tell you that right now.
I got the big bald spots.
So I'm definitely understanding that.